Okay, so you guys need to learn how to start your mandala. Remember, this is what it's gonna look like when we're done with it. So that's colored, all the steps completed. But before we get to that part, you're going to have to do this step where you have to transfer to each side, and then you end up with this, and it makes kind of a pattern, and then you would color it. So let's begin all the way from the beginning. I've already cut out all the circles. So the first thing you have to do is you have to fold it, and it has to be folded like almost perfectly. So you take one end of your circle, you have to match it up perfectly with the other side as best you can. Okay. And you need to make a nice crease there. Okay. If you have to trim off a little bit of the circle on this side, you can do that. Looks like mine is not perfectly even. That's all right. I'm going to just trim off this little section so that it's a perfect match to the other side. All right, so there you go. Now you have your fold is perfect so that everything matches up. Then you're going to take the paper and fold it again. Okay. And match it up perfectly again, and then make a really nice crease here. Press hard. Okay. You're basically turning into like pie pieces. And then one more. Taking this side and matching it up perfectly even with this side. And there you go. Okay, so then you have your perfectly divided circle. All right, and then the next step is, this is the reason I made you draw all those symbols. You need to decide what symbols you want to be in your mandala, okay? And then what you'd have to do essentially is you have to take your favorite ones and you've got to look at your mandala as if it's just this piece right now, okay? So it's just gonna look like this, and you're gonna figure out how to place your symbols in the space that actually would fit in this little one pie piece. You can't overlap. It has to all fit in here. As you can see, some of my things actually even go off the paper a little bit. You can do that. You can overlap your symbols. You could do this however you want. For the inside of your pie piece, I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 in here. I would do no less than 6, and I would do no more than 10 inside this piece. But it has to fit, and you have to be able to see it. So you can't make them super small. So for this one, I did about 8, okay? And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna just take those symbols, and you might have to practice this a couple times. You might even want to just draw like a pie piece on your paper and just try to arrange them before you actually use your mandala. And then you're going to want to draw them again in your one pie piece, okay? So I'll put this aside. So I'm going to just trace over this one I've already done to save time. And actually I'm gonna have you guys use this pencil because it'll transfer easier. So I'm gonna overlap all of my lines. You gotta do this kind of slow because you don't want to mess up your drawings, and you don't want it to be too messy when you transfer. And now when you transfer, it's not going to be a perfect copy. It's just going to be like an impression. So that's okay. You're going to go over it again with pencil. We're going to use these ebony pencils. I have plenty of those. They will transfer nicer. And then we'll use erasers to get rid of all the pencil lines eventually and just use Sharpie. But we'll get to that. Right now, just go ahead and give yourself a nice clean, crisp line on each of your symbol lines. Just like that. I know I'm going kind of fast. You're going to do this much slower than I'm doing it. I'm doing it for the sake of the video. I don't want to bore you to pieces with me drawing super slow. So you're going to take your time and go much slower than this, okay? All right, here's my Xbox controller. That's representing my son. Okay, and then there's a mitt down here because I played softball. And I've got my art represented. This symbol right here means family. Okay, all right, so what I did to get this piece or this impression is I folded it over the paper. I basically took something like a marker or something blunt and just kind of did this a couple times. You want to look and make sure you're getting it. And you want to make sure that you're using, so I'm actually gonna do it again on this side that's blank so you guys can see it, what the impression looks like. So you fold it over to the next pie piece and you press down enough that you're not hurting the paper, you're not crinkling your paper up. And notice what I'm doing with my fingers too. I'm holding it like that so it's not crumpling the paper as I'm doing it. And what you'll get is just a very light impression. Some of them haven't transferred all the way. I'm gonna go over that specific spot. See, you're not gonna get, it's not gonna be perfect, so you're gonna have to fill it in. I have enough to see where my lines are supposed to be. Okay, so I'll do my paintbrush. My family symbol. All right, so this part requires patience and it takes time, and you're gonna go around the whole circle like this. I'm gonna show you a shortcut though. When you get half of the pie piece done, well, let's just get it there. I'll show you. See, some of these didn't transfer perfectly, but I know what I'm trying to draw. So you're gonna have to kind of fill it in. It's not going to be perfect. This is gonna require patience, like I said, and some time. Got my softball over here. Okay. All right, that mitt didn't really transfer that great, so I'm gonna have to maybe go over that again. There, we can at least see where the okay. All right, so what I was gonna say is when you get each one of these pieces and for the half of your mandala, you can fold over the whole thing to do the other side. So for instance, what I mean by that is when I transfer this one over, I might actually have to trace over that again. Oop, careful. Okay. I may actually have to trace that better so I can get a better impression, but you get where I'm going with this. When you do this whole one and then you have half done, you could just fold it over and do the whole, the whole thing on this side, okay? There's going to be a lot of tracing and a lot of refolding and a lot of, because like look at this one came out really good, this one came out sort of good, but it gives you enough of an impression where you can trace it and at least know where things are supposed to be placed. Now, as far as this one and this one go, obviously I'd have to finish this one and I'd have to retrace this one to get this side a little bit better, but you get where I'm going. So at some point, you're going to end up tracing all of this over in pencil. You're going to get to this part, and then you're going to Sharpie the whole thing with thin Sharpie, and then you're going to use one of these erasers to get rid of all the pencil lines, okay? So then you'll just have this nice clean pattern, and your mandala is almost done at that point. Okay, so like I said, time consuming, requires patience. It's not going to come out perfect. I have your circles already cut out for you, and this is how we begin. Begin by making your folds very perfectly so that your pie pieces are evenly spaced. I will have extra circles if you have trouble. I should say mandalas. And I'm here to help you if you need, okay? I will keep my examples handy, and I will post this video for everyone to watch. You can watch it as many times as you need to, and this is the end result. We're gonna have something like this. I will show you another video talking about the color scheme, but for now, let's just get the drawing of your pie piece. First of all, that will probably take you one class time. Get your pie piece set up first, and then start transferring it little by little. This transferring will probably take you a couple of class sessions. All right, have a good night.